is that we might have to, with utmost care, pull off the panels and have a look at the ridge beam, see how it looks.
Well, there's one hanging down up here. See?
Okay. Well, it's...
And that's another thing, we've got bloody leaks, so there must be a lot of work to be done under the...
Yeah.
The roof.
Once that's pulled off,
and then he can use it as
you'll be able to see some of the damage.
Cool.
Now, the rafters here seem to be 200 by 50s, 10 by 2. Yeah. They seem to be. But if that comes off and people can tell me what is there, then I can work a way of keeping this stable and taking out the rot if necessary. I did some jobs in the Cook Islands to give you an idea where after the hurricane all the roofs flew off, as they do. They had 5 hurricanes in Rarotonga in 2007. And what we found when all the roofs flew off was there was an enormous amount of rot. And so before we put the roofs back on, we had to actually do a lot of splicing. And I try not to take any timber out, I try to slide down timber beside it, and like a splint for a broken leg, just screw in. And nowadays we can do it quite quickly because we have power nail guns and things. And so if the roof comes off, which it probably will, to do a new roof, right, then that may be the time. But if we take these panels out inside here, one at a time, carefully, and have a look at the damage, it's not going to affect the strength if we take those panels off, but it allows us to know what's coming up. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. That's only boxing at home, there's no man there.
Ah, okay. So
it looks like the real thing with a lot.
Okay. And then once it's out, take photos, digital camera, send them to me, and I'll give you a sweet call on what to do with that, because I know there's going to be rot. Hey, come on.
Yeah, well,
That tells me.
Yeah, well, it'll probably run down all the men in there.
Yeah,
and
what it might require is when it's opened up, is to actually do that work before we lift it. But until we look, because sometimes when you lift things, as much as you may all be lifting at the same time, a little bit of this way and a little bit of that may open something up.
So we would have to check that first?
It would pay to, while it's, it's to check.
And what about the sides?
Sides as in the...
The rotting timber and that?
Oh, no.
Be all right?
Be all right.
Okay.
Because once the weatherboards are off, basically, it's not a big job to count the number of studs and to put exactly the same number alongside, if that's what you wish. And what I would suggest then is, when the sides are off, is to actually plywood the whole lot on the outside before you put your weatherboards on. So in the end, it'll look exactly the same. Yeah. And the plywood would give this enormous strength. And what I've done in the past is, if you don't want the wall to be wider, is we get a router and go around all the studs and put the plywood in. So these are all practical solutions. I don't bring high-flying jumbo jet solutions. I bring simple solutions.
With a simple price?
In the end, I found that when I've asked around, see, we're doing a small project out at Marae, just outside of Tiro, and they're doing a brand new wharenui because their other one got burnt down. And what they're looking at is, what resources do we as a whānau have? Yeah. And if it's going out and using the pokey machines, well, it doesn't come into the story. But if it is, and they do have a lot of people working for Carter Holt Harvey, they have people in the forestry industry, there are lots of ways of getting materials at the right price. Not the crazy price that you see in the books, but the right price and the right quality. And if that can be actioned within the whānau, then I don't know what the budget's going to be, but it has to be less than if you paid a contractor to do everything. Does that make sense? Yeah. So don't ask me about price until everyone sort of thought about what resources we can all bring into the store. For instance, there may be a steel fabricator within the whānau. For the people, where was that down the east coast where they were putting up a brand new whare? It's all precast concrete. We were there about, how many years ago? The one that's only recently opened at just out of Mohaka. Is that one there too? Yeah. Well, the guy that was...
Raipuna.
Yeah, Rauponga. Hey. And the guy that was up there on a hot day welding away, well, he's a Māori guy, he comes from there, and that was his job, you know. So he's up there welding steel up, and I went, far up. This is a bomb shelter. Well, it's open now, and it's, so they brought the resources in, and he had some trainees there, and he was teaching them how to put concrete up and do stuff like that. So I don't know what your resources are, but they've got to be better than most, because this is an area of growth. In other words, things are happening around here. Forestry's here. So that's my challenge to you guys. I won't give you a prize, but I'll outline the work that needs to be done so that people can then work out where the resources are within your team.
Okay. That's what we
And
want.
that's just this whare. Now there's a whare kai and there's a whare paku and there's a whole lot of other things. You guys are lucky. I see you got wastewater that you can take to a pumping station. Hopefully it gets treated well, but you don't have a septic tank to put in and all the dripper lines to put in the front garden and all the rest, so you're very lucky that you've waited this long.
Yeah.
Eh?
Yeah. It's because we were broke, that's all. Otherwise it would have been done.
Yeah, well, I'll see. Well, sometimes being broke's okay, you know. Yeah. So, yeah, Kei te Pai, this is not beyond recovery. Honestly, I'm not saying that because...
You made my day.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll make your year and your decade, because this could be done if the logic follows and people manifest the funding and the support. This time next year we could be sitting in a new whare. Oh, the same one, but new. Yeah. Or this time in 5 years' time. I'm not going to give it a timetable. I'm just going to say that the way this is for many people moving houses. This is a small house. Okay. But for you, it's your house, and it's as big as you want to make it, but it's restricted by that dimension, that dimension, that dimension, and that dimension. So this is it. And I just hope we don't have an earthquake between when we start and when we finish, or between now and when we start. But no, it's beautiful. Who are the artists that did the work here?
Koro.
Who did the... Yeah. So, you know, last thing you do is take ownership of the work and say it's no good. You know, you've got to put it back together. It's good. Have I missed anything else? Oh, any more questions? Yeah.
Any more questions, fellas?
Kia ora. Kia ora.
Is it important to me to talk about?
I'm very well now. Yeah.
Is it important to mention some of the ideas that came out of Ngā Aho in terms of the overall?
Yeah. So you want us to sit down? Oh.
No. Okay. Ngā Aho's a Māori design group, and we have there are a bunch of architects, planners, all sorts of things. It seems I'm the only engineer at the moment. That won't always be this way. But within your story, and within Ngāti Pikio, there's this really neat guy called Kepa Morgan, who's a lecturer in engineering up at Auckland University. Now Kepa has his own story to tell, and it could take years to get the full story out. But Kepa and I have worked together on philosophically, thinking about it, on a number of projects. And I like his project of papakainga. I like his project of keeping a house like this and an area like this alive through people being here and using the space. So I don't know what's being thought about outside here, but part of the discussion with Ngā Aho when we were here in June, July, was to actually help manifest ideas. Don't ask them to price them. These are just ideas at the moment. So I'm quite happy to be a part of that story as well as, in the area of development, in the area of the whare pakus. I'm a wastewater engineer too, so I can help with those ideas. But somewhere along the line, outside of this whare job, which is my main focus, is a development thought, or development thinking, that could turn this into something that's exactly what people want, what they've been waiting for. But it will involve architectural input and planning input around today's stories and rules within council. So that resource is available. and Roland has direct contact with Ngā Aho, and as we do too.
So you can do the same type of work as Opus, as a group?
As a group,
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
That's good. Sorry, I used to work for Opus when it used to be the Ministry of Works.
Oh,
years
okay.
ago,
yeah.
years and years ago. And we know what they did, didn't they? Yeah, they dammed our rivers, they did all sorts of really dumb things. But that's okay, that was then. And with Opus, they have a group of Māori-centric engineers, I think, a small group. But Ngā Aho are sort of, yeah, they do other stuff here. Yeah. For instance, I think they did the, was it Te Puia? The entry there, that was done by Design Tribe, which is one of our members of Ngā Aho. So they think outside of the square. Yeah. Oh, and then we spent some time down at Rotoiki looking at floating gardens and all sorts of things a few months ago.
One of the things from I'm no expert, but that I found interesting with our kōrero with Ngā Aho here was around the design of the pā in its entirety. And if you looked at it from a bird's eye view, you know, what shape, what concepts that belongs to the whānau and the hapu that can emulate, and the kōrero about the eight gates and how that can be incorporated to the overall wairoa, and then where the wharenui is positioned within that. And so, yeah, so the focus is on the wharenui at the moment, but if you're going to move it, then maybe you could think long term about how the pā might eventually shape. But that's over to you. But it's just, yeah, one of the whakaaro that are...
Could be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have nothing further to say other than ask me questions. And I'll answer honestly, and you know, this is a house worth saving. I noticed that there's some rock here. There's a variety of floorboards here. There must be a reason.
So it was getting broke. That's why.
Yeah.
At the time.
So a variety of floorboards doesn't bother me, if it doesn't bother other people. And yeah, one of the projects we're doing, which has a concrete floor, will have heating underneath, but that's a story for a concrete floor. For this one, with the you know, that foam insulation underneath, it turns a fridge into a sorry, a freezer into a fridge. And so what I see happening with this flooring is those things that are rotten can be taken out and new stuff spliced back in. This could be polished. It could have the insulation underneath the foam insulation, and it could be a very warm house. May still be a warm house, I'm not sure, but this could be a place where people don't sort of come to bed here feeling cold, but they come in here into a warm space. So everything that I've described is about actually making this a warm space, whether it's insulation in the wall, insulation here, and it's about keeping the energy equation to keep this place warm, you know, bringing it down to something a lot lower. So, yeah, thank you very much for allowing me the opportunity to stand in your space and to think about a good future for this country and for the hopefully for the surrounding land as well. They say in the language of the Pukapukans, "Ata wai wolo."